Super
Yeah.
stoked. Mr. Olly Hudson live with us here on Agency Therapy. You guys don't know Olly Hudson at all. Olly is the founder of two agencies, one of them being Soar with us, the other one being For You Agency. And we'll dive a little bit deeper on each of those here in a second. But Olly, super stoked to have you, man.
Yeah, excited to be here. Excited to jump into some stuff. Been looking forward to this. Not done a live thing before, so first
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah, 100%, man.
Fun.
So it should be a ton of fun. Hopefully we'll get some people chatting in the stream here. So if you guys are hanging out with us, make sure you guys drop a comment down in the chat. Let us know here if you got questions. Of course, as you guys know, Agency Therapy, you guys can ask questions as we go along throughout this interview today. But Ollie, man, really excited to have you here because you've been kind of just like popping up on the map over the past year, kind of known as like you and your partner Joe Lucas, all kind of known as like the TikTok guys currently in the space, guys that are doing big things in TikTok. But it's not where you got your start. Got your start with the Soar with Us side. So, real quick, break us down real fast the difference between Soar with Us, For You Agency, and kind of where you got your start and like when did you guys launch?
Yeah, Soar's been going for kind of about 2.5 years at this point, roughly, maybe just over now. That started as just a Facebook and Instagram agency, serving e-commerce. During that, we've kind of expanded to Google Ads, email, SMS. We do a bit of Pinterest here and there, a bit of Snapchat, basically, and we also run TikTok ads through that company. So that's grown fairly organically and naturally over the last like 2 years. I think we've really seen quite rapid and consistent growth, up to about almost 30 people with that company at the moment, doing some small internal changes at the moment before we push on again. So yeah, we're running that still. Working with a lot of different companies, different sizes, different scales. We then obviously got through Soar, got access to the betas and got onto the TikTok ad platform super early, due to the clients we were working with, and kind of when we did that, we noticed a big problem with TikTok compared to other platforms was the entry for content. Like, it was okay running ads on there, but not everybody could actually provide content that would allow us to get results. So saw that opportunity, decided to spin up a second agency that serves just TikTok, have really good relationships with TikTok as a company as a result, and got some real preferential treatment from them. Brought in Lucas and Liam, our other two partners on that, because Lucas has really strong content expertise, which we lacked. And that's kind of allowing us to fill that kind of specialist gap. And I'd say the clientele that we're working with that business, due to the growth, the way we've acquired the clients, the setup, and the connections we've got with the various companies, are a lot bigger budgets, a lot bigger kind of retainers. Yeah, both agencies are different. There's some unique, like one of them is all in-house. So Soar with us is all in-house, or very majority in-house, whereas For You is all remote. Soar with us obviously does lots of different services. For You does one thing. So they're very different setups, but obviously very similar, like fundamentals, because they're both marketing agencies, which provides a lot of interesting insights, I think.
Yeah. So why not keep them under one roof? Why have two separate agencies? Why not just tack on another service into Soar with Us?
We wanted to bring in Lucas and Liam. Obviously, Lucas owns a content agency called Hammy Media. His specialism is content. So again, owing to the fact that we were trying to run TikTok ads at scale for these brands that we were already working with really early doors, but we couldn't get content output that would work on the platform. We basically were just like, let's bring someone into as an equity partner to help us with that process, so we could ramp quickly. Rather than, we could have probably built those processes ourselves over time, but it was like, do we trade speed for like higher equity percentage, or do we go for speed and try and grow that business to exit really quickly over the next 2-3 years, which I think is very realistic with the nature of like TikTok as a platform. The goal for that business is to kind of build it and sell it to an even bigger agency, hopefully.
Sure.
There's like a bolt-on acqui-hire for TikTok, but whereas Soar with us, we wouldn't. It's very much like a cash flow lifestyle business in a way. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep. 100%.
goals like
So as we're kind of transitioning into like more like North Star goals, right? Like one thing that you mentioned was, hey, like we want to go under an acquisition for you agency. So with us, you guys are looking at potentially keeping that on a little bit longer term. Why get acquired? One, like what's kind of like the goal with getting an acquisition? And two, it's like, well, okay, why are we holding the other one and not selling the other one, right? So, what are your thoughts on that?
I think, well, why get acquired? I think mainly because of the setup. I feel like if you're like say a big agency, I've not got one at the top of my head off the top of my head, but I'm talking like triple digit staff members kind of size. So social chain probably the only one I can think of off the top of my head. I feel like if you're a big large agency that wants to really nail TikTok as an offer, acquiring a smaller agency or a medium-sized agency that does that efficiently and very well is a very quick route to doing that. I don't really want to run two agencies for forever. I think that's very complex. Soar with us is something we've worked on for a long time. It's really, like the culture there is, well, the culture of both businesses is really good, but Soar's obviously been kind of our child to business since the very start. So we put a lot of time into that. As I say, it's more like it's quite cash flow rich. I'm fairly hands off in that business now to an extent. We've got the team set up really effectively. So I just don't really have a desire to exit that. Whereas for you, it's very much like we brought a CFO on who's kind of road mapping us exactly to that exit. We've got support from TikTok, and we've also got support from a couple of agency owners that have actually gone through that process before, helping us with that very clear end goal. Whereas Soar, we haven't really got that North Star end goal for Soar. It's just like, let's try and build and continuing to improve in every way and just continue to improve team and client size, etc. But it's not like, oh, we're going to do this with it. We're just going to see what happens with that one.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, as you guys continue to scale, hitting there's barriers that you have to get past getting to 7 figures, and there's barriers you have to get past to get to multiple 7 figures, even into the 8-figure mark. What were some of the initial barriers kind of crossing from a 6-figure agency into a 7-figure agency?
It's a good question. I think initially it's so to get to 6 figures, it's like case studies, service delivery, and churn. I think if you can nail churn, case studies, and service delivery, then that is the gateway to getting to 6 figures. Like if you keep clients for a long period of time and kind of talk about the results that you're getting them, or ensure that they're actively trying to find referrals for you, that's quite an easy path to 6 figures. Beyond that, it goes very much from being like that becomes your issue. That no longer your issue. It's more like a balance between talent and lead gen. Like a bit above 6 figures, you can't do everything. You could run a 6-figure agency as a glorified freelancer, really, but you can't do that past a certain point. To get to 7 figures and above that, you need a team. You need very solid deal flow. I think those are the two, and then you obviously need to match those two up so that as you bring in that deal flow in, then the service delivery quality doesn't fall, and then you don't increase churn, and then that becomes kind of a problem. So I'd say a real big focus on client satisfaction all the time, but obviously, I think as you get to sort of 20 plus people, then you've got to consider those kind of those elements that don't have like tangible value but are so important. So like culture, you don't want team members that you're going to put a load of time into training leaving because they're not enjoying what they're doing. If they enjoy what they're doing, they usually provide better service, so you retain people for longer, you get better results. That then feeds back into the front end of your pipeline. So a lot of that's kind of been a big thing for Soar. For you has been different because our deal flows come from like organic content, which means that a lot of the people who get on the phone with us are kind of, you have to sell hard to them, whereas Soar it's a lot more cold outreach based. So but the content systems and the general systems and processes in For You are a little bit more complex, I'd say, because of the content output and working with creators. So that's been a big thing there, is just making sure we're nailing that side.
Yeah. What I want to circle back to lead gen at a certain point here, but the second thing that I wanted to hit on is like, okay, what were some of the sticking points from 6 to 7 figures? What are now some of the sticking points you're having now around barriers that you're trying to cross going from 7 to 8 figures?
For you, we've grown we grew very, very fast through this year due to the way we guided like demand and how we acquired clients. So it's just a bit of now we've got to a bigger team size. We're at about 15 people in that business. So we went from 0 to 15 in 8 months, which is very quick, quite a quick increase in staff. So I think we're kind of like this Q4 period's about like really focusing on delivery quality and really focusing on rebuilding those systems that can support another big batch of large clients, but also another batch of hires. And obviously the structure within that team, we're running that as a pod system, which makes that a little bit more simple. For Soar with us, I think transparently, our biggest problem with us is we like financial numbers is something we weren't naive about, but we didn't run it in as optimally as possible. So
Sure.
We were very cash focused. Now at the size we're at now, we need a lot more like robust forecasting, and a lot of decisions need to be made more off like projections and hard factual numbers than a sort of feeling how much cash we have in the bank.
Yep.
So we're currently doing quite a big rework there. Like we have found that as we've increased the team size, our percentage of revenue spent on staff members has increased quite significantly, like disproportionately to like retain like the revenue value. So we're kind of taking one step backwards to take 2 steps forwards, like
Sure.
almost getting rid of some of those smaller clients, doing like 1 in 1 out policy for the next couple of months, and then once we've got that revenue per employee back up to where we want it to be, we then kind of take next steps and expand the team again, because you don't really want to be a busy fool. Like I'd rather have an agency operating with 25 people at 30% profit margin than an agency with 50 people operating at 15% profit margin, so netting out the same amount of money, because it's just way less complex and way less time consuming.
Yeah, 100%. No, totally agree with that. As far as lead generation goes, because that was something that we touched on briefly, I want to circle back around to that. You're scaling 2 agencies 2 totally different ways. For you through an organic method, and then Soar with us more through probably referrals, and then also some cold outreach strategy. Why the difference between strategies, and what have you seen that is working currently?
Yeah, they're very different. I think the For You side, obviously, a very large amount of the deal flow there came from Twitter, organic Twitter, which I think we got on at like the perfect time for TikTok. Like we got exponential growth on that platform. We've utilized a lot of networking events there because it's like the hot topic. So if you go to these like VC events, we've built some good relationships with VC companies. The head of UK TikTok e-commerce, like they refer us quite a bit of business themselves. Like those relationships are worth like 6 figures MRR in themselves, just because of the like size of clientele that they can send you and the amount of businesses they work with. But I think that's been like, it's harder to replicate that for everything. But I still think like organic content, if done correctly, it changes the narrative of that phone call that you get someone on. Like they come to you, they get on that phone call ready to purchase, basically, rather than you having to hard sell to them. We've done cold outreach. So that's been a big thing for you. I still think it can be done. Obviously, we've used Twitter and LinkedIn mainly, and then events and networking. But you could use like TikTok, Instagram, anything really. Like people are using the Andrew Tate method of just slamming out content across all those and having quite a lot of effect, getting quite a lot of deal flow from that.
Sure.
So this is obviously more of a grind from the start. We've been doing cold outreach since we start, mainly emails, to be honest. Pretty much everything there is emails on cold outreach. And I think if you run those with the right scripts and you're constantly testing, treating them a bit like an ad account, really iterating on everything, using data, they will book consistent meetings. You have to have good guarantees and things like that to get people on a phone call. But obviously we've been doing that for so long that like we've been doing it for 2 years now plus. It's very much like a snowball effect. Like you can't expect to just start doing it and get results straight away. Like it's been something we've worked on for a long period of time. And then we're starting to go in on the personal branding side there as well, which is also bringing stuff. And then, as you said, referrals. Like to think of an agency as a bit of a spider's web. Like you spread out further and further as you get older and older, because you're just getting into more networks and more groups.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's
so as far as network goes, something that I've noticed that you guys have been doing a little bit recently is attending more events. I know you've been to a few of the geek outs. You're going to more and more of these like marketing events. How's that been on the lead gen side, and what have been some of the big takeaways from you going to these events? Like, what has the return look like from attending some of those events?
So yeah, really, really good. Most of that has been focused around TikTok, because it's the unknown. It's like the hot topic at the moment. So a lot of companies don't know how to execute on it. So going to them has been extremely valuable. I'd say the ROI on those events as a whole is probably like over 100x on the cost of the way over that on the cost of the events. We try to do quite a few a month in like London, UK, and there'll be loads in the US as well. Just go chat to people. You'll be amazed at how many like business owners you can meet, or even like, as I said, like VC companies is something we've managed to get a lot of contacts in, and they obviously have networks of huge amount of businesses. They've been invaluable, I guess, and even beyond just the lead gen side, it's just like the connections you make there for like partnerships, software partnerships, platform partnerships, and so there's so much value to be had by going and just expanding your network and going to events.
100%. Cool, man. Well, I want to shift some of the topics just a little bit. Something that I always like to ask people that come on here is like, what are the current inputs that you're kind of consuming right now? Like as far as whether you're books, audiobooks, podcasts, like what are some things that have been extremely valuable to you over the last 6 to 12 months as far as inputs go?
So I'm a horrendous reader, and I don't like audiobooks, which probably not a lot of people are gonna. I wouldn't advise that for everybody. I just don't know. I'm very like I just can't concentrate on books for long enough, which is probably my own flaw, to be honest. And there's so much value to be had from those. I listen to a lot of podcasts, but I feel like the way I try and treat things like business wise is like, rather than just a lot of people I feel consume a lot of content and take no action. Like I'd rather than just aimlessly listen to Alex Hormozi videos about topics that don't have any relevance to what you're actually trying to do at the moment, like work out what your roadmap and what things you should be focusing on. So like, what's your bottleneck in the business, and then go consume something relevant to that and then apply it. So there's so many different people out there. There's so much different content. But that's the kind of method I take personally. There's so much like Twitter's obviously a bit more general, but for e-commerce, that's got so much on there. You can just scroll down and bookmark things and go back to them. But I take more of like I guess you call it precise content consumption, if that makes sense. Like really just spend more time thinking about like what you should be focusing on, and then go and consume content around that, and then execute, like I said.
No, 100%. Speaking of content, I've noticed that you've been pushing a little bit more on the content side when it comes to video content, when it comes to Twitter content. Give me a rundown.
Getting ripped apart for the Twitter content, for the Instagram content, because apparently I can't stop moving when I make videos. So just
I love it, dude.
Getting loads of stick. As I said, Twitter's been a massive lead gen source for us. So, and it's quite low effort in terms of output compared to YouTube or video. So, just been trying to stay consistent on that. It's a very early adopter platform. So, a lot of obviously tech entrepreneurs, e-commerce entrepreneurs use it regularly. So, and it's easy to get exponential reach compared to your followers if you can use it in the right way and use some like retweet strategies and things like that. So just been trying to stay on top of that, and as I say, that's been a real good deal source for us. Expanding to Instagram, but more of like a strategy in place there, using not just myself but the whole team. We're getting everybody involved now, which is really good. So yeah, continuing to expand on that, and then we're just bringing on like a personal branding agency who are going to help us. Me and myself and Joe kind of just basically exponentially increase that output across everything.
Sure.
It's just to be so powerful, and we've just been kind of not like half-assing it, but like there's only so much time, and it does take quite a lot of time to produce that content when you're trying to do loads of other stuff. So bringing people on who can streamline that workflow and help us distribute more, and then hopefully it'll increase the inflow and opportunities further.
Yeah, 100%. One thing that I've kind of noticed that helped us with the content side and not spending so much time on the planning and the actual shooting is any of our written content, which we do a decent amount of written content on Twitter and newsletters and stuff like that as well. We turn that into video content, right? So basically it all starts from like a written perspective. So anything long form, like we will normally shrink that into YouTube video or into a short form video of some sort, which has been a much faster way for us to create content, because we don't have to come up with like fresh new ideas for video and then come up with fresh new ideas for written content. So for us, like one of the biggest hurdles has just been the time it takes to put into content, because it does take a lot of time to do like a solid pre-production and a solid production. So that's how we've mitigated some of that time is cross post, cross those ideas over in pre-production. That way we have an idea of the topic already, and we don't have to like recreate everything.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I just find it hard, not hard, but like I'm very inconsistent on like ideation. Like some days I'll be like, oh, I can come up with about 50 ideas, and the next week I'll just be like, I can't even think of anything because I'm doing other things, and I'm not very like. It's hard to sometimes find it hard to be self-reflective and actually pull out ideas, even though there's so much going on that it's about. So like just having support of like them, just a call with someone and them kind of pulling those ideas out of you feels very like valuable almost, and just streamlining that workflow a bit. But yeah, the production and post-production side. So yeah, I think just should help a bit. Should help push things further really if we can get it.
Get it 100%. Right. I always find that like if I have my phone with me, I'll just be making notes in either my notes app or inside of Notion of like just ideas that I want to run on YouTube or put into like a long form piece of content that like I'll just think of, but like I'm not by my computer to like write it down, right? I always find like when I walk, when I am at the gym, whatever it is, like those are when the best ideas tend to come up, and I'm like, shoot, like I don't have a place to put it, so I just have my phone with me. And I have a note section for those ideas. So as they come up organically, like those are some of the best ideas that you're going to have. So have a place to put those, as you're thinking of it. It's like, it'll come up at like the most random time too, where I'm like at dinner or doing something just completely random. That's not even related to work. And boom, all of a sudden I'm like, shoot, like I need to write this down. It's a good content idea. And then we put it in production.
Yeah, I'm the same really. A friend of mine has recommended going for a walk in the morning with just a notepad, no phone or anything, and that's how he comes up with all his ideas. So I'll write that out at some point, see if it helps with content ideas.
Yeah, I come up with a bunch too. I do walks every morning. It's crucial. Yeah. So as far as let's jump into exercise a little bit. Something that we've chatted about a couple times actually is just like kind of having like a routine, right? A lot of people have routines, some people don't. It's funny to meet entrepreneurs all the time that are so different in their like own personal methodology when it comes to their routine. What does that kind of look like from, do you have a pretty solid morning routine? What does it kind of look like when Ollie wakes up from the time he goes to bed?
I've not been very good on routine recently, to be honest. I've obviously moved to London pretty like 2 weeks ago, and that just blew everything out of the water compared to when I was in Leeds. So yeah, a bit all over the place. But usually, yeah, just recently, no, not really. Which has definitely been maybe like a lot less productive. So I need to get back
Sure.
into it. Um, I think it's just about finding what works for you, though, testing and testing things and removing things, adding things until you find the right balance. A lot of
Yep.
people try and like, replicate other people's, which is very counterproductive, I think. Um, like copy someone else's lifestyle, which just makes no sense. So yeah, mine's a bit all over the place. At the moment, but yours is way more regimented, isn't it? What you still do the 5 o'clock wake ups?
Yeah, yeah. It's I'll change it up every few months because I just find like sometimes it gets a little monotonous, and I just don't enjoy being stuck in the same routine over and over again. Because I one I get bored with it, but two, I don't know. Like I find myself getting less consistent the longer I keep a routine, right? So what I'll normally do is I'll go through like 2 to 3 month kind of stints of like a specific routine that I really want to try. So like right now I'm waking up a little bit later, so roughly around 6 a.m. Instead of 5. Doing 2 hours of deep work in the
That's on.
morning. Yeah, yeah, and then from there it's doing my walk in the morning at around 8 a.m. and then after that jumping into like more like client focused work, and then at the end of the night just doing one last like deep dive work session, where I can go a little bit deeper on some work. So been playing with that a little bit. I'm sure I'll go back to the 5 a.m. Probably probably in January, just starting off the new year again. But I kind of find like I don't know, I'm the same way. I kind of get bored with the same routine over and over again, so I try to change things up to mix it in. Like right now, I'm doing afternoon workouts. I used to only do morning workouts, so it's all for me. It's like I change my routine all the time just based off of how I'm feeling. If I need to change it up, all that good stuff. So
Yeah, yeah. My just the morning workout is the key for me. Everything else can shift around
yeah.
based on what I'm doing, but I have to keep that consistent to have the most amount of energy and get the
What
most
what do
amount
the
done for the
workouts
day.
what do the workouts look like for you? What do you like doing?
All sorts of different stuff at the moment. Trying to just get more diverse. I'm trying to train with a few other people. Join Matt Kelly for some of his psychotic workouts, but
Nice.
so a bit of all sorts at the moment. Yeah,
Yeah, so strength training, some
yeah,
high
yeah.
intensity
CrossFit
interval
stuff.
stuff. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, a bit of everything. Bit of everything.
Awesome. So one thing that I've kind of noticed is like you do a good job of mixing work and life balance. You kind of pay attention to your stories. It's like Ollie's always out, kind of having fun at during the night, and then but during the day, it's like dude, like you're in it and you're in the trenches, right? How do you find that
Yeah,
balance? Do you ever find yourself going over one side more than the other? Of like, oh shoot, like maybe I'm doing not enough work. Does that ever happen? What's kind of the for you, like how have you learned to kind of balance those things?
yeah, definitely. I found sometimes it flips. It can go too far into either side. I just well, I, I don't know. I just think the whole like what we do is meant to facilitate life, like not the other way around. It's not meant to just work for the work, like which I feel like is a big thing through the industry. It's just like just smash 12 hours of work 7 days a week. It's like I don't really want to do that. But you have to be able to kind of like crack through a hangover and do some work when you're not feeling great, which a lot of people can't do. Um, I guess that's the key to
Yeah,
that. But yeah, I don't like the whole. I just obviously I probably would get more output, and probably both businesses would probably be in
sure.
further advanced if I didn't do that. But it's like with 25, I can feel like you'd look back at the younger part of your life and be like, why did I do that? I feel like you could just transition to that once you're like 32 and still get to the goals that you want to get to. Again,
Sure.
it's like optimize around what you want to build around and what you want your lifestyle to be like. So missing out on things with mates would be pretty. So that's like you really get those chances again. So whereas yeah, you've got ages to continue to grow the agencies, which again might not be aligned with a lot of the other people, but that's just how I think and how it's working for us. So don't change what isn't broken, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, that's something that I've kind of noticed as I've gotten a little bit older. Just uh, your priorities kind of shift, and I don't know, man. It's one of those things where it's like I'm 30, I'll be 31 this month, and it's yeah,
Yeah,
man. It's like I don't know, my priorities have shifted slightly. I still enjoy going out and stuff, but I don't know. It's just you get tired faster, you
yeah,
know. I don't have that 25
yeah,
year old energy anymore.
yeah, definitely. But it's like I definitely think that that's natural. It's like if obviously, so, like for example, in summer, like if all my friends are going to a festival, and I was like, oh, I can't do that for a weekend because I'm going to sit and work all weekend. I feel like
Sure.
you can do both if you're not stupid about it. So
Yep.
yeah, it's just, but then obviously as you get, I think that will change naturally for self as well
Yeah.
over time.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's you know, when I was, 25, like we were still doing all that stuff, you know. So it's like and I didn't have a business, right? Like that was like I don't know, like I was working for someone at the time. I was making like 18 bucks an hour. So it's like it's cool to see that you're at the age you're at, so young, able to build a business and still have the lifestyle to go along with it.
I think the key to that is having a really good team and also systems and processes. Like as I said,
Mm,
through this summer, this summer was the first time in like 3 years I took a week because I used to hybrid holidays. Like I'd be like, oh, I'll go away, but I'd still work, which was actually
sure.
really counterproductive in hindsight. I did this summer, I did 10 days where I went away and just didn't take a laptop or did take a laptop, didn't get it out unless it was like something that was urgent.
Yeah.
And one, it made you way more refreshed and I've came back ready to dive into things again. But two, it also kind of proved that where the business was at in terms of like nothing changed. Like you think everything's going to fall apart, but like if you built it correctly, you should be able to step away for an extended period of time, and it's still continue to grow and it's still to continue to run efficiently, and then it almost will show you if that's not the case and where you need to in your time, what you need to be
Yep.
working on. So that was kind of proof of concept for us. Right? So I took that time away. Matt and the team still smashed everything. We still acquired clients. Client results were still great. No one churns. Like that's where you want to get to because that's when you've actually built something that can operate without you and gives you the freedom that most people want from what they're actually building in the first place.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, obviously that's necessary before you can just kind of almost like not do what you want, but live a bit more relaxed. But yeah, I think
Sure.
that's something that everyone probably wants to get to,
Yeah. Oh,
and is a target for most.
yep. 100%. So if you're cool with it, let's shift topics a little bit away from more of like the lifestyle side. Obviously, Q4 happening right now. We got some big things going on with Black Friday, Cyber Monday right around the corner. How's it been? I guess like your position now is a little bit different. You're probably less in the weeds on the media buying side. But as far as like getting the team ready, what are some things that you guys are doing as far as prepping them for a crazy Q4?
Uh, Yeah, we do like weekly trading sessions internally, so we use a lot of those through October to do Q4 and Black Friday, Cyber Monday specific things. And we also have like reflections from the last couple of years that we can pull forward to this year. We have like obviously systems around how we get clients prepared. So we run like type forms that we send out in late October, which collects all the information, timelines, assets, discount codes. Just collate all of that information really early on. You've got to push your clients to be prepared because otherwise they won't be, and they'll take ages to get you the things you need, and therefore leave you like in a place where you're all over the place if you don't force them to be ready ahead of time or ahead of their schedule. So it's just about that preparation, that education, and then also I think there's there's naturally going to be probably more hectic around that period. So it's again, there's a cultural piece there. Like, how do you put on more cultural events,
Mm,
non like monetary like thing elements that still that kind of keep them all engaged and make it a fun period. So like more social activities. We're doing like challenges in the office, rewards in the office, prizes for certain elements over that period,
yep.
which I think is really good.
So yeah, just a lot of those are kind of the three pronged approach we take. Like get the clients really organized, get the team educated and ready, and then make fun so it's not stressful. And then just kind of hope for the best. There's only, and then once you get through the period, we always do quite a big collective piece at the end of the year. We do like SWOT analysis for all of our clients, which we actually double up as like a referral push from our side. So we've helped you hit your goals through this year. How can you help us continue to grow? Like sort of thing, which works really well as well. And you can kind of reflect on Q4 as a whole pretty quickly after, which is really valuable and has been really valuable for us the last few years.
Yeah, 100%. So kind of on the sticking point of culture there, something that I've kind of noticed with certain agencies is one, having like a hybrid team, which I think you guys have a hybrid team of like remote workers and people in office. You guys just got a new office. How has that been as far as like cultivating culture? Is it optional for people to come into the office? Are there days where you're like, hey, like you have to come in on these days? What has it kind of been like, especially post COVID, going from a little bit more remote work into having a more centralized business?
Yeah, we have like an onboarding period of 3 months for every new hire, which in that 3 months they're expected to, well, if they're based in the office, or in Leeds, they're expected to come into this every day for that period. Beyond that, we have a pretty like hybrid approach where in the contract it says like 3 days, 2 days, but like we don't enforce it. Like it's like if well, we would obviously in some cases, but we've never had to enforce it. We find that a lot of people tend to nearly every day, which for me shows it's a place that people want to be. Like it's a nice space. Yep. Everybody enjoys working together. There's like the non-work elements and the social side is really good. I think we've got quite a young team in general. Like our average age is probably like 25, 26. Which it makes it quite a fun environment to be. And we also hired quite a few friends, which is something very different, which is obviously not a lot of people will advise to do that, but it's worked very well for us. And I think that's really helped with the culture element as well. So yeah, some kind of unique elements from that side, but I think that was massive for us, the office space. It helped us with culture. It helped us with like training so much easier in person, like bouncing ideas off each other. It's worked really, really well for us. And we, as I say, even the remote people like Jacob and a couple of other team members Jacob lives in Ireland, he'll come over once a month for like 4 or 5 days. Yep. So we tend to see everybody in person quite regularly, which again, I think is really helped with the growth and helped with the culture. We've not had any staff members leave since we started the business, which is, I don't know if that's unique, to be honest. I don't know what the standard turnover rate of staff members is, but again, I think that shows that people are bought into the mission and the culture of the company.
Yeah, 100%. Sorry, go ahead.
And 4U's remote. And I was going to say 4U, the other agency is completely remote, so and that's kind of similar. Like that's got a similar culture. It seems to be going well from that side. But management of remote teams is a little bit more complex, I think, in some ways. Like gauging people from when you're not in person, I just think it's harder, naturally harder, than if you are in person. So yeah, it's just a different problem, and well, not a problem, but a different set of challenges, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. I want to rewind just a second there. Something that you said is like you hiring a bunch of friends. How has that been, like, just from the standpoint of like, obviously like people make mistakes, and I'm sure you've had to have some difficult conversations with friends. How has that been? It sounds like so far it's been great, but I'm just curious from that standpoint of like, what is kind of the stance when they do eventually fuck up, and you're having to go to them with some feedback.
I don't think I can't think of any situation off the top of my head through the whole process that we've had to have that happen. We get like a stupid amount of buy-in. I feel like they go the extra mile to the length that other people wouldn't.
Sure.
Like the two sales guys, like Freddie will take a call at 2 a.m. in the morning if he got a call booked in from an Australian company, like just because he wants to, he wants to help as much as he can, like he'll get like things like that. Obviously we bought into them and trained them and gave them opportunities as well and pay them like well also. So we kind of bought into them and they bought into the journey that we're on. But it's worked super well for us. Obviously, there's some people I know that I wouldn't hire, so it's not like I don't feel like you should just do this. But
Sure.
yeah, I think the key for so hypothetically, if that situation had occurred, like I think we run it very much like the transparency. We run transparency across the whole business, even with people that we didn't know previously. Like transparency and the ability to have difficult conversations is just key. And like just it needs to be separated from the personal side. And I think that's like we definitely would do that. It's just not something we've faced, to be honest. But yeah, I think that would be the way you'd have to go. You just have to kind of face it and just kind of park the other side of it, which could be complex, to be honest. But not been an issue for us so far.
Totally true. Well, a couple last questions here as we're kind of like wrapping up the last couple of minutes. What are kind of like the big focuses over the next 6 to 12 months? Where are you guys kind of taking this thing? What are the big initiatives that you guys see you guys pushing on in the near future?
So for Soar, I feel like the growth path for Soar is somewhat linear. It's like how do we increase the awareness and the perception of the company on the front end by shouting about client case studies and putting out content that positions us in the right way to increase deal. How do we hire the right people and how do we acquire the right clients, and then you backed up by like financial modeling and forecasting, because the agency beyond a certain, obviously there's stuff like HR as we get even bigger and bigger that'll become completely new challenges that we haven't really faced. But it is just that balance of like deal flow and then supply of people who can take that on and smash the results. So it's about kind of knitting that together and ensuring that both are sustained and worked upon. Over the next 12 months, we may look to bring in to acquire a content agency moving into next year, just to round out the service offering for that side. But we aren't 100% on that yet. For you, we're doing a lot more different. For you, we're looking at quite a few different. We're looking to expand like the actual business itself, going into a couple of other avenues, so perhaps SaaS and also some info product ideas in the next month or two, which is going to bring some revenue streams to the company. Continue to work on those partnerships that I think is going to be massive, just with the way we've kind of found ourselves in the market, and then really try and go into next year and continue the rapid growth. As I said, we've only been going like 8 months there really as a formed entity, and to do the growth we've done in 8 months has been kind of crazy, and obviously presented quite a lot of challenges, but I still think it can be sustained through next year because of just how new and rapidly evolving that platform is. So I think that's a lot more kind of dynamic than Soar in terms of like the next 2 to 3 years. It's there's a lot more moving parts, or there should be a lot more moving parts on that side.
Yeah. 100%. Good stuff, man. Well, excited for you guys. It's been fun to watch the journey, and really excited to see you guys continue to grow. It's been crazy, the ramp up that I've seen with you guys over the past year. It's been nothing short of just exciting and actually really impressive. Reminds me a lot of our agency when we first started, and the speed that you guys are going at is very unprecedented. It's something that you don't normally see with a lot of agencies. So hats off to you guys. It's been fun to watch.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Obviously you guys have ramped pretty quickly. So if anyone on the fence, jump Josh, and he's a big reason why we managed to grow both businesses really. Well, obviously parted on to myself and the team who have all had class experiences with him. So thank you for your help over the last year. Dude,
of course. We're just getting started, It's like just the tip of the iceberg. Real quick before you leave, where can people find you What platforms are you really trying to push on right now? Gain more attention.
Mainly Twitter, to be honest, probably the best place
Yeah.
to go. Olly Hudson, and then well, that may change over the next few weeks as we start to do more of the personal brand element. But yeah, that's probably the best place to go for now.
Cool. So start at Twitter, and then from there, I'm sure you'll have a link tree or something to your other accounts. So go follow Olly on Twitter. I think it's just at Olly Hudson, correct?
Oliver W. Hudson. I couldn't get the
Oliver W. Hudson. I love it. I love it. Good stuff, man.
Couldn't
Cool.
get the-
Anything else? Anything else that you're working on that you want to plug? Anything that you want people to check out?
Not at the moment, no. But keep an eye on that, and hopefully there'll be some
Yes, sir.
interesting stuff coming out over the next few months.
Yeah, love it, man. Love it. Like, excited to see the content start to ramp up on your guys' side. So, Olly, thank you, man, for coming today. Appreciate your time. I know you have a lot rolling right now, so I appreciate you taking the hour to kind of jam with us and give people some good insight on what it looks like to build two 7-figure agencies. So excited to continue to see you guys grow. Guys, don't forget to follow Olly, like, comment, subscribe on this video if possible. Would appreciate it. Helps with the algorithm. We'll be posting this in a podcast as well, so if you're listening from the podcast, leave a like, leave a review. Appreciate you guys, and we will see you guys in the next one. Peace.